everyone, and welcome again to Woman Enough for Marriage. My name is Wumi Ajayi. On this video, I'll be continuing my episode on sex. So this is Sex Talk Part 4. If you've missed parts 1 to 3, please do check them out on my YouTube channel. And I also want to say that if you have any comments or anything you want me to speak about, if you think I've missed out anything, please do drop me a message in the comment section. So today I'll be concentrating on foreplay and orgasm. If I have enough time, I will go on to speak about orgasm. But I want to speak a lot about foreplay today, which we like to call core play because of how important it is. Foreplay will be saying, will be defined as the activities that precede sex. And I think if we see it as that, it's almost like we see it as something like a hurdle that we have to jump through before we get to the actual thing, which we might see as the orgasm, the peak of sexual activity. But actually, foreplay is a lot more than that, and it's actually an aspect of lovemaking that as couples, if we concentrate on it, it has the capacity of helping us to develop not just physical connection but emotional connection inside and outside of the bedroom. And when we look at lovemaking as married couples, it's actually a journey. We can decide to enjoy a journey or we decide not to. And lovemaking is a journey that we should make up our minds as couples to always enjoy, because that's how God wants it to be. It's not a business to be rushed, because when we rush it, we miss out on the benefit that lies in it. Foreplay allows us to prepare our minds and our bodies for sexual union. It's a time to relax, it's a time to focus on one another, and it's a time to actually get rid of every distractions and inhibitions and focus on one another. I understand that we won't always have the time to run the bath and light the candles, sprinkle the petals and all that. And it's actually important that we find time to do that as married couples. Find time to put the effort in to celebrate our union and celebrate each other. But the reality is most of the time, we don't have time to go all out. But that doesn't mean that we cannot enjoy every sexual experience. We cannot make up our minds that we will enjoy every sexual experience. So when we look at foreplay, it's said to be a set of emotionally and physical intimate acts that's meant to create arousal and desire for sexual activity. So foreplay can be the difference between I don't feel like having sex to actually going on to enjoy sex together as a couple. Foreplay actually sets the phases of sexual arousal emotion, and it causes a number of physical responses in the body, which I'm going to talk about. But if you look at Songs of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 1 to 5, if we read that literally, it talks about head to toe caressing. I know there's a lot of spiritual meanings that we can derive from that, verses as well, in terms of the church as the bride and Jesus. But if we read it literally, it actually describes head to toe caressing, which is what foreplay it's about. It's about, enjoying each other's body. It's about being naked and not being ashamed. It's about, loving on each other, staying in each other's presence and enjoying it. And in terms of head to toe caressing, we're talking about activities like kissing, touching, touching of erogenous zones, which are areas of high innervations that are very sensitive to touch, that actually prepares our body and our mind for sexual experience. There are specific erogenous zones which we might be familiar with, talking about the breast, the labes, the labia, the perineum, the clitoris, the penis, the tip of the penis and all that. But there are non-specific ones actually that if for some people it could be the side or the back of the neck, the inner arms, the belly button, and different areas. And if we know those areas in our spouses, it's important that these are the areas that we caress and touch to give them pleasure, to help them to prepare their bodies for the sexual response. There are other non-physical activities that we can do as well, because like they say, what happens in the bedroom does not start in the bedroom. It starts during the day. It starts outside of the bedroom. So things like sending texts, just connecting with each other during the day. A touch here and there, a hand on the shoulder, a head on the shoulder. There are things that we can do as couples to make ourselves feel connected. Because oftentimes the issues we have when it comes to sex is when we are not mentally or emotionally connected as couples. It's really, really difficult to connect on a sexual level. So like I said, foreplay actually prepares the body. If we look at the stages of sexual response, there are the stages of excitement, the plateau, the orgasm, which is the third phase, and then the last one, which is the resolution phase. The first two are very important if we want to get to the third. Foreplay is actually important to help us in getting to the first and the second phase of sexual response. And during foreplay, some of the physical responses that happens in the body is that there's more blood flow to the sexual organs. That's when the penis becomes erected, the clitoris becomes erected. The organs becomes more susceptible they become highly sensitive to touch. And all the while it's releasing the fluids, the bodily fluids that we need to actually give us the lubrication that will make sure that sex is not painful and it is enjoyable. Actually, my husband will say that foreplay is what sets the juices flowing, and we need the juices. And at this point, I would I just want to mention the fact that women more than men need foreplay, because the responses that we're talking about that we get during foreplay, a man will get excited just by looking at his naked wife. That's enough for a man. But for a woman needs more. It's actually, researchers have gone into this to confirm the fact that women need more time. Women need foreplay. Like they say, where women are slow burners. So we need time. So it's important that a man is aware of this so that you don't rush sex. So taking time to caress your wife, taking time to prepare her, taking time to set her in the mood and get her ready is very, very essential. I'm going to jump quickly to talk about orgasm because my time is going. Orgasm is the climax of the sexual response cycle. And like I said, it's the third phase, and then the last phase is the resolution phase. Orgasm is the shortest of the phases. It generally lasts only a few seconds. And that's why when we skip foreplay and we think, oh, it's a waste of time, and then we go, let's just get into the rhythm, the orgasm. It only lasts a few seconds. We miss out on a lot when our focus is only on orgasm. And there's something that is referred to as the orgasmic gap, which is actually the gap between how many men actually achieve orgasm during sex and how many women achieve orgasm. It's been shown that about 95% of heterosexual men will achieve orgasm during sex, whereas there's only 65% of heterosexual women will achieve orgasm during sex. While penetrative sex will produce orgasm for some women, most women actually achieve orgasm through clitoral stimulation. I'd also like to point out here that actually the clitoris and the penis are formed from the same tissue. And when a baby is inside in the womb, you can't actually differentiate which one is the clitoris or the penis until maybe I think about 14 or 16 weeks of pregnancy. That's when it differentiates into the clitoris and the penis. And so when a man needs that stimulation of the penis through sexual intercourse to achieve orgasm, we have to remember that the same applies to the woman, because the clitoris is like the small penis. And so a woman needs clitoral stimulation as well to be able to achieve orgasm. And so it's not something to be ashamed of, because most women actually will not achieve orgasm through penetrative sex. So it's not something to be ashamed of if as a woman you cannot achieve orgasm through penetrative sex. And so as a couple, it's important that we know what is happening, we're aware of what our situation is, and that we're able to mutually support each other And I think, it's fair to say that a lot relies on the man to be able to help the woman to achieve orgasm, because like I said in my earlier videos, the the gift of sex is actually meant for mutual benefit of both. And so it's important that when the man is achieving orgasm, the woman achieves orgasm as well. And as a couple, if you have that gap, which means that, the man will achieve orgasm, the woman will not, it's important that you do something about it. Because if a man has a woman that is not interested in sex, it might be because the woman is not enjoying it. And so if you don't do something about it, the issue will continue, the problem will continue to perpetuate itself. So the onus is on us to act by seeking knowledge. And talking about seeking knowledge, it's important that we know the right sources to seek knowledge from, because I know this might be off-putting for some people, not knowing where to turn to or who to ask, and especially because we don't talk about sex in church. This is a book that I recommended earlier on, and I'm still going to recommend it again. That if as a couple you're seeking knowledge, you want to know how to improve your sex life, just get this, Intended for Pleasure. I want to believe that this book actually has everything that you might need to be able to improve your sex life as a couple. And I want to end by also mentioning that many women take longer to climax. So it's important to know, what to do as the male partner, as the husband. Is the experts actually says a woman will require at least 30 minutes of sexual activity to be able to climax. And a woman will need careful attention from their spouse in order to bring them sexual pleasure. And attention could involve touching specific spots. I've talked about erogenous zones in our bodies, applying pleasures correctly, and finding the rhythm, that will prompt your spouse, your wife, to orgasm. Communication is also very vital. We need to, get rid of inhibitions that means that we won't talk. We feel like we can't talk about sex or talk about what gives us pleasure and what doesn't give us pleasure, what works and what doesn't work. Because if it's your body, and talking to my women folk now, it's your body. And if you don't speak to your husband, if you don't tell your husband what works for you, what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy, it will just be acting, do whatever he's doing blindly. It will not be able to know. So it's either you tell him, or you respond or moan, or just let him realize that actually is doing it right, or you are not doing it right. Change, and tell him what he needs to change. Every wife needs a selfless and patient lover. So this is my message to the men folk, our husbands, that every wife needs a selfless and a patient husband that will be able to help them and stay with them through every sexual experience. And when both parties, when both the man and the woman experiences orgasm, then the resolution phase is more enjoyable. The resolution phase is generally characterized by, a sense of well-being, a phase where you're both relaxed. Sometimes the men will slip off at this point, but it's a phase where you both feel connected. You might want to cuddle up, and that kind of helps you to be connected. But a woman that has not achieved orgasm cannot experience the resolution phase, and that's why a woman might feel used if she's not achieved orgasm. A woman that has not experienced orgasm might feel left in the lurch because the cycle is not complete. There's something missing. So as a couple, it's important that we help each other to achieve orgasm and make the experience of sex mutually beneficial to both. I'm going to end here. Thank you so much for joining me. So today I've talked about the importance of foreplay. The foreplay should actually be core play. Sex is a journey that should be enjoyed by every couple. It's not a business to be rushed. And orgasm, it's important that both couple go through all the 4 stages of sexual response together for them to both enjoy maximally from the gift of sex. Remember that marriage is to be enjoyed, not to be endured. God bless you.